I came to be a missionary in France through a long process that started when I was 16, when I became a Christian in a Free Will Baptist church. I struggled with the Lord for a few years, and then when I was 19, I recommitted my life to the Lord. And within a couple of weeks, I just felt that God was calling me to do something. I had no idea what. And so the pastor took me and stuck me into a Bible college, which is now Randall, transferred to what is now Welch, and during my junior year, there's a revival on campus, and God just simply said, I want 100%, and that means I want you to be a foreign missionary.
I did not want to be a missionary, but I did go to Bible college. So I said, okay, I'll go for a year. And then at college, I did basically music and business. And of course, I really enjoyed the Bible. And then I met Dennis, who was going to be a missionary. So I had to take that into consideration. And so in the end, I did tell the Lord I'd be a missionary if he wanted me to. And then when I said yes to marry Dennis, then there was no change for that. That was it.
When I first arrived in France, my initial feelings had a lot to do more with the experience of trying to get here. We came during the time of the hippies, and we spent a week in New York City trying to get on a plane, stuff like that, Jerry Gibbs and I. But then we got to France and we were welcomed by the Haas family, and they just took us in as a part of their family. And so we had little experience really with the French culture during that first summer.
Okay, so my start with French food was at the language school, and we ate in the French dining hall every day at lunch. So we had to speak French while we ate French food. But it was very interesting. It was very good. I enjoyed it, but I like to try things. But then as far as my cooking, well, we had to adapt. My mother came once and she said, well, all you do is substitute, okay. But then when we had to buy food, back then we didn't have the big stores where you could go pick up what you want. You had to talk and ask for it. Yeah. So that was quite challenging, yes.
Well, I literally love the culture of the French meal, and especially the family meal. We get together as a family, and I just sit there and smile most of the time because I'm just so happy. And I know we're going to be at the table for 3-4 hours, sometimes 5 hours. And I watch my sons and my daughters-in-law and wife, and it's just to me it's a party every time. And to me, I would have to say it's the French meal for me. It sounds stupid, but I love to speak French. Yeah. And I know it's not perfect. I don't have an accent, but when I can communicate in French, it's one of the best experiences I have.
What I love about the French language is I just think it's a beautiful language. I had 2 years of French in high school, and when I heard it, I just thought, this is so beautiful. So I really enjoyed that. But then when I came to France, language school, I didn't know very much, couldn't speak much.
When you think about your 40 years in France, what are some of the things that come to mind when you think about your ministry here?
Well, I say, where did those 40 years go, to start with? And we have 3 sons that love the Lord, and that's probably one of my biggest blessings. And yeah, because I basically worked with the children in the churches and some with the music when, you do what you have to do. So we did that, and I think it's all been very interesting, but at the same time, it's be pretty heavy at times.
When I think about our 40-something years here of ministry here, I would sum it up probably in 3 words: a challenging adventure. And the Lord has allowed us to be a part of starting a lot of things. Part of our gift mix is creating new ministries, and we started with Genial. We did after that we did Giquois. We were part of starting a church at San Sebastian with Kathy Crawford. We're now helping with Mosaic. We're going back and renewing the church at Saint Nazaire. Most of our ministry has been built around creating and starting anew and fresh. And that fits me as a person. If I could give advice to a new missionary or someone who's considering becoming a missionary, I would want to say get some maturity, get some experience in ministry under your belt, not just theory, but you've actually dealt, especially dealing with people. People are people, whatever culture they're in, and you need people skills. You need to be able to deal with conflicts and different things like that. And then I say, secondly, you just got to love people. I think it's basic for ministry, wherever you may be, but especially as you go into a second culture. And I learned this early in my ministry through a missionary couple that were limited in language, but they love people. And that love overcame all the obstacles that they presented in other areas of their lives. And so if you can't love people, you shouldn't be in ministry in the first place, but for sure you should not be in ministry in the second culture.
Be open. Don't come expecting it to be like what you're used to. Even though someone said to us, well, it's no different than America because we have the same, appliances and things like that. But it is different. But we need to be open to their lives, their culture, their way of thinking, and also be able to be adaptable to things around us. When you take your children to school, that's a whole new adventure, and it can be complicated. And you also, when your children suffer because of being in another culture and not always understanding, that's hard on moms and dads. Don't always compare. Well, why do they do this? Well, why do they do that? Well, that's just the way they do it, because they're French.
I believe there are several keys to our longevity in ministry. I don't think it could be just one thing. And I think it's all tied together. But, we came to France. We knew very little about a lot of things. We were young, but we got here and we became involved in the French culture. I started coaching basketball. Carol has followed along. She developed friendships through basketball. I became known as depending on which circle I was in, I was either the coach that's the pastor or I was the pastor that's the coach. And I really do say that on purpose because I think that gave me an outlet and an understanding into the French culture that I would have never had otherwise. And it also gave me credibility, but it also gave me, because the Lord was good to me, gave me a lot of wins. When the church wasn't doing too well, I was doing good in basketball, just be honest. And I really do think that helped me deal with that. It gets heavy. And there was times when I would say to Carol, I'm more appreciative of basketball than I am at the church. And I really do think that now that I look back on that balance gave me the ability to get through a lot of situations difficult in the church. Because even though the church wasn't going like I hoped it would, like I thought it would, like the strategy said they would and all that stuff like that, I was winning basketball games and I was getting trophies. And I think the two, for me personally, helped me get through a lot of issues.
Some people say, how have you lasted so long in France? And sometimes I'll say, I just think we're stubborn enough that we're going to do it anyway. Because if you're always thinking, if you're always giving yourself the possibility of, I don't know if I want to do this or if I like this. Well, it's kind of like marriage, we're in this for forever, so we're just going to keep working on it and keep going and doing our best. And I think that also helps to, in your mind, in your heart, you've made the decision, and you don't sit around and think, well, maybe I shouldn't have, or why am I, or what else could I do? You just keep going.